I need a bad girl to make my homie lose his cool. I need a bad girl who love listen to the bad Ice Cube. I need a bad girl to make me wanna break the roof. I need a bad girl, boom chicka wow wow, sex on my roof.
Hi guys, it's Miss Polly. So I am just doing a random stream as Miss Polly. So I don't know who will come in this lovely evening. I don't know. Um, since I am streaming from my phone. Um, absolutely. Just want you guys to know, like, so it might be a little bit of weirdness with my finger being poked at you. Just let you know. Italian Stallion, hello, how are you? It's nice to see you. So obviously, I am just doing a random live Ask Miss Polly. I usually do Ask Miss Polly in the afternoons on Tag, and I do stream on YouTube. And that's an app, a dating app, and we talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. And guys and women can come in there and have conversations with me about whatever they'd like, and they just ask me questions. So it definitely is a cool place to be. So I enjoy that. But I definitely I am a writer. I acknowledge, and so I am just getting off another live on knowledge and relationships, and I just jumped onto here. So I definitely want to have some good conversation, a little bit more, because one of the things I have to practice or work on is the transitions I do when I talk about poly, and I do want to clear that up because it's it's hard for me not to talk personal when I try to give my personal examples, and then I'll switch to talking about just poly in general. And so I do a switch, and I don't always clarify when I'm switching. And so I do want to be more mindful of that because I hate that I confuse people with my switching, and I don't like to switch all the time. Hi, for anybody, welcome. It's Ask Miss Polly. I'm gonna have an Ask Miss Polly evening. I usually have this Ask Miss Polly in the afternoon. You guys can ask me questions, or I'm going to answer questions I've been asked through the week. I usually get questions on Facebook, my Facebook groups, and I get it on Tag, and then we just have conversations about relationships. If you have any poly questions, we have that. But today, let's just dive into a topic that someone did ask me, and I have my little list here. But someone asked, I want to bring this up actually in a live one day, another live, but should you be broke when you date people, right? And I said to this, should you be broke when you're dating? And I will be honest. Okay. This is a really good question. Should you be broke? I believe that it's not really about being broke. It's about being in a good place. Now, I'm not telling you there's a particular number or whatever. I'm saying you do a restart anyway when you start dating someone and you break up, right? Right, you're dating someone and you broke up with them. Most people go through a phase, not everyone, but most people go through a phase of rebuilding themselves. They'll say, oh, I'm going to work out. I'm going to, focus on me. I'm going to do all this stuff. And they become like a whole new person. And then they meet someone new. And someone's like, oh, well, we were dating. They weren't doing none of that. They weren't exercising. Now they started exercising. They didn't weren't worried about that job promotion. Now they did that. Okay. So I think that when you're talking about should you be broke when you date, I think you should be focused on making sure you are the best you. And the best you is probably not someone who doesn't have a job and is sitting on your mom's couch. If you're a woman or man, it doesn't matter. Okay? Just put it out there. Okay, so now you say no, you shouldn't be broke. Okay, so do you attend swinger clubs? Italian Stallion. The question, I forgot how to do this. You guys bear with me. Okay, yes. Do you attend swinger clubs? I have not ever attended a swingers club. I am not a swinger, but I am not against it because I actually am a voyeur. So I'm a voyeur, and so I don't mind to see things, and I'm okay with that. And that's just me personally. There you go. I would go to one, but I have not been to one. I've been invited to some. I've asked to host some, but I have not been to one. Um, they sound very interesting. A lot of it's a voyeur's dream, as I have been told. A voyeur's dream. Okay, so hell no, no shouldn't be broke. I do agree. When it comes to that, like I said, you should be in a place, even if you're poly or not, just in a place of a good place. And I think when you want to date someone, you want to be in a good place, and this is why. Okay, when you have your basic needs met, and that's financially, you're taking care of yourself physically, that's appearance wise and all that, you kind of take away from the stresses when it comes to your mental game, because when you get into a relationship, it's a lot of mental stuff happening, right? You're exchanging conversations, you're talking about things you may be triggered, not triggered, and that's a whole process. So while you're going through that, it's nice to already have yourself established in those other places because it's less stressful. You have your job, you got your physical fitness underway, your health is under control, and all that, right? So you're good. You're good. Okay. So I do think, yeah, it's a little weird to be broke. Do I think that if you're going through something or a transition, should you not date someone? I don't think that's true, but I think you should advise the people you're talking to that you're going through a transition. That just makes so much sense, right? When you're going through a transition, or you're like, hey, you know what? I live at my parents' house. I went through a divorce. That needs to be established. A lot of people say, oh, well, it's communication. Most people don't communicate. They get into relationships. They don't tell anyone what's going on with themselves, the bad things that are going on with themselves. They tell you all the good stuff. They never tell you all the bad stuff really until weeks later. And then you have to decide, now, are you going to continue with the relationship now that you got this new information? And then you have to decide if you want to continue. And that's kind of stupid. So I don't like that. Okay, so that is something that takes place with a lot of people. Now, let me check this out. You guys know I don't really go live every 3 seconds, but it is what it is. Okay. Next question. Okay, anybody else have any more questions? Like I said, I have a book here, so I'm going to go back to the book. So that was the question about, should you be dating broke? I don't think so. Does it only apply to men? I don't think it applies to just men when it comes to money. Women, I understand, like, oh, find your boo and you won't have to work. But women should still be able self-sufficient. Self-sufficient. I think this is a big thing for people who are like, oh, it's a man, or a man should take care of a woman, all that. No, it's called about self-sufficiency. You should be able to take care of your basic needs without the other person. You should be able to take care of your maintenance. That's for women too. Take care of your maintenance on your own, all those things. And if you get a partner and they want to participate in helping you or doing that, then that's wonderful. And that's nice you found that. But when it comes to just regular maintenance, I think you should be able to take care of yourself to that degree. Now, how you decide to split your bills and all that, that's got nothing to do with anything. That's a structure in your relationship. But being able to establish yourself is very, very important. It changes everything. Changes how you look at yourself. It changes how you feel about the other person. Are they participating? You're not going to feel like, oh, I'm doing all the work and no one's doing this work. Or it shows that you can take care of things if that person's not available to do such also. So let's say your partner for some reason gets injured or can't work. Well, they do know, even if you're not working at the time, they know that you can work, you can do this. So just having the ability to do something is very, very important. And we don't want to take that from anyone, even if it's a male or a female. I know men have this, hey, I'm a dude, I'm masculine, this is what I do. And I'll be honest with you. When I will say I was very modern. I told men when they dated me, listen, I'm not very domestic. So I dated a lot of men who cooked a lot and things like that. I'm not very domestic at some point. Now that I'm with poly and things like that, I've started dating two men who are used to very traditional women. I mean, very traditional women that are way more traditional than myself. And so when I got with them, and I would see that they never asked me to do things that are traditional, but I saw that they were looking for things. And I'd be like, you're looking for food. I don't really, I didn't really do that every meal cook thing. I didn't really do this, or I don't know. So now I know what they're looking for. I see them interested, and I can cater to my partner's needs. So I'm able to change that. So being able to say, okay, this person here is needs this and this, and I can transition. It's wonderful. And even like I said, I don't do it all the time. And I try my best to cater to the needs of my partners because I like to see them happy. I love to see them feel like that's how they like to receive love, and I love to show them that I love them. So if it's cooking steak and making macaroni and cheese and making cornbread and greens and they like that 3 times a week, or even more, it is what it is, and I love to do that for them. So being able to provide some service that I'm not used to. I used to think, okay, well, I have to go out here and make this money, do my half. And that's not true all the time. That's not true all the time because my partners don't want me to be like take that position from them. They like to feel I'm the man and I'm providing these things. And if you're taking that from them, it's just like it's not good. So I'm like, okay, listen, I'm a backup. I'm a backup. And if they ask me to do something else that they would, like, I'm fine with that because that's fine. I can transition. I don't mind. And I like the fact that we can have the conversations and work things out and to see the growth, emotional growth and the healing from past relationships with both of them and even with myself. I have, obviously I'm not a perfect person myself. I have some things where I felt like men try to control me with buying me a lot, and that is a trigger for me. And I have to work on that. Someone trying to show me kindness with purchasing things for me or um, trying to take care of me is not a way to control me. And I have to know that, but I have had men do that to me. So it's a trigger for me to be like, I don't want gifts. I don't want you to buy this and that. And so me taking on that role also was a way to protect myself from feeling that from men. I didn't want to feel controlled by men with money, so I would stop them from being able to control me with money by not allowing them to buy me anything, not allowing it was really big. So I've transitioned into something different now, and I slip up sometimes and make it hard, but I try not to. I try not to. So so think about that. So yeah, no one should be broke. Women shouldn't be broke. It shouldn't be one sided. Okay, I'm just checking if there's any more questions, guys. You guys know any more questions? If you guys want to come up, that's cool too. If you're just hanging out with us, thank you. Okay. Okay, let's look. I have, like I said, I have some questions here. So, last week someone asked me, which we asked me, the other one was because this other guy just asked me about the sex club. Someone asked me if I was able to have a relationship with a married person, would I do that? Someone asked me that, so I'm gonna answer that. Okay. Um, I don't mind being in a relationship with someone who's married. When they're poly, I don't have a problem with that because we're all on the same page. I've dated one person who was poly for a long period of time. They were married, and their wife was very nice. And we all kind of became like close. So I have dated one married person uh to a woman. He was married to a woman, and his wife was polyandry, and she had partners. So she had two partners. So she had two partners, her husband and her boyfriend, and then her husband wanted to date me, and then we started dating. So that was interesting. And we used to do things like wake up in the morning and do video call exercises because they didn't live in the same state as me. It was cool. Like I enjoyed that relationship. That one I probably taught that person for about 4 months. That was a good relationship. So yeah, I'm okay with dating someone who's married. I prefer it to be in a poly situation. I don't date lifestylers. It's just I'm not into that part. So yeah, definitely I would date someone who is marry in a poly situation. I don't mind that at all. That's cool. We can do it. And then we vet different too. So when someone's married, it's a vetting situation is different. You know, you meet the wife. Um, you'll meet the wife. Usually, yeah, you usually meet the wife like on the first date or something like that. It's normal. Like on your first date, you can meet the wife. You can meet her later, maybe 2 3 days later, and you like, okay, this is my partner, and blah blah blah. Yeah, I've gone on a few dates. Not they're actually my partner, but I've gone on a few dates with some couples, and I really was just like there to date their husband, but their wife came, which is cool. Like it's nice. You want to know who the person is. Like I said, it's very like inviting. Like so, I met his wife. She was awesome. With the one I dated who was actually married, I actually dated him. Like I committed to them or that situation. But I've gone on dates with couples, and I'm only really dating the husband. But the wife wanted to get to know me, and I am down with that. Like that's how you want it. You want to have communication with your partners to some degree. Now, men, when you're polyandry or something like that, or like you're polyamorous, like myself right now, it's different for the men. They have it hard, guys. They have it hard. Guys who date polyandry women and then they try to find another woman on the side. It just seems very difficult, in my opinion, because I find that my partner, like one of them, like I said, one of my partners who at the time because this is what happens. There's a whole process to this, okay? Hi. And okay, so we're gonna talk about this. So there is a thing that happens when I date monogamous men. Okay. So they'll be dating me. And what happens is they'll say, well, should I be poly too? Because I have the opportunity. And they usually try. And I just say, okay, I don't know if that'll work for you because you seem very monogamous. You never tried anything like this before. Yeah, you've cheated maybe in your life. Or you've talked to multiple women in your life. But have you actually been dedicated to two women at the same time and been very open about it? That's a whole different situation. Um, and that's strange. So they'll usually try it. And the ones who try it, it ends up being like weird. And so when they'll try it, what happens is I don't think they like it. The ones who are truly like, oh, this is really different monogamy. Like, you want me to talk to her? I'm like, yeah, you gotta give her the same energy, boo. You gotta give her the same energy. Because if you're not giving her the same energy, I don't think you're interested. That's how I feel about it. Because if you're, and I don't mean like the same time and 50%, I'm not talking about that because you can give one partner less time and still like them. It's got nothing to do with that. It's like the same interest. Like you just basically half-assing because you can't keep up. Thank you. Oh, me here. Stop. Why you? I'm not gonna say nothing about that. Anyway, so it's a very very interesting thing to see men who date me who are monogamous transition because they think they have to kind of date someone else, and it sometimes is not don't go good, and they just say, "Listen, my one's enough for me." And then usually when they date or try to talk to other women on the side, the other women tend to be monogamous too. So then they have it's like they're not understanding. It's like a person trying to date someone who's monogamous, but they're not in a monogamous relationship. It's listen, it's a shit show sometimes. Sometimes it is a shit show because then now I only have to help the person transitioning try to do something new. I have to help the person they're trying to talk to transition into something new, and that's a whole lot. It's a lot of emotional stuff that goes through. It's a lot. It's a whole lot of stuff, and it's a lot. So, I advise my partners who do decide to do that, or people who I try to talk to and they want to try that. I'm like, Lord, you can try it, and so it's very interesting. So anyway, it gets really complex. Like I was just talking to M3 from Knowledge and Relationships, and I was talking to him, And I think the word suit, when we talk about all this stuff, it gets people a lot of people frustrated and stressed. And I try to tell them like, just think of it organically. All the words and all that. It gets real messy, and then people try to hold on the words. Words are stupid sometimes. Sometimes they're stupid, but sometimes they're important to identify things. And when I'm talking about poly, I can water things down and things like that. So I'm happy that I am able to share with you guys information and give you guys advice on how to date and what's out there in the world and what this other world looks like. Because people think, oh, well, these people are just walking around. There are so many poly people hiding. Like the most stressful thing. Poly people hide amongst everyone else. And it is really difficult to kind of separate, the worlds when I live in both, basically. A lot of people don't live as open as I do. A lot of people are doing poly things and they just don't tell anyone. You know what I mean? I've had interviews with people who I've quote unquote had tried to convince that they could be poly. And I've had a whole interview and I looked at the person and was like, at the end of the conversation, trying to convince them or whatever. I didn't have to really do any convincing because they were already basically doing what I said they were doing, which was being in a poly situation, but just not calling it that. A lot of people are sharing husbands with their best friend. That's kind of polyish. If your best friend's at your house every day and you're eating and you guys do things together that that most people do other than, and you don't think you're not doing is sexual interaction, that can still be poly. And the reason why I'm saying it, people are like, oh, well, you're in a relationship. No. There are people who are platonic partners and they do not have sex with each other. They are still partners. So when you have a situation where you have a friend who is basically like a wife, people say, oh, like she's like my wife too, but we just don't have sex. So that's a platonic partner. You're literally spending your whole life with this person, and just because you're not having a sexual interaction with her, you don't consider her a partner. Yeah, that's your partner. You connecting with her, you share with her, if you need someone to talk to, you're talking to. That's what it sounds like to me. And I think that also gets people a little confused when you start talking about what's the difference between a friend and being poly. There is a difference. I have friends that I'm just friends with, and I have no interest in being romantic with them or have any of those things that take place. So it's very clear. But there are some people who I have this connection with, and I've had friends where I'm like, I could see myself like building my life with you, and not necessarily that sexual part. That's still kind of a platonic partner also. So see, there's a difference. You're just friends and you're just cool. You hang out, you enjoy a couple moments, and you go about your life. You know. So Renaissance woman. Sorry, let me put your question up here. I appreciate your question and thank you for joining us. Why is polyandry the redhead stepchild of poly? You know why. Let me tell you why. Polyandry is looked at funny because in the poly world, polygamy was the first standing kind of relationship, which was a man with multiple women, and those women were not interested in each other. And the idea for men in the polygamy world, where 83% of the world is polygamy, and men are kind of conducting this kind of lifestyle, that women aren't allowed to do things. So if you meet a poly or a polygamy person, they do not believe that women are designed and made for anything other than being with one man. That's it. Okay. And they don't believe, and that's it. So when you kind of talk to them, you're going to hear all kinds of negative stuff. They don't like polyandry women because they think that's ridiculous. You're just going to have a battle that you'll never win, but you can go in a circle if you like. And then what came next was polyamorous, which was then the tripods where a man would have a woman, but she's bisexual and she'd interact with the woman. And then polyamory kind of built itself up. So now you can have more than one partner and then blah, blah, blah. And then that's what opened the gate for polyandry when it came out here to, the other world, because now women are able to have more than one male partner, which was very different. And those male partners sometimes don't want any other female partners. So that's why a lot of polyandry partners are actually bisexual, which is then again, remember we just opened up the book of people being now bisexual is different. So the transition from polygamy all the way to polyandry has kind of even, evolved. So this is like, oh, that's a lot. And then you also see polyandry in places that, and this is very true, that have a very low count of women. Because there's not a lot of women, the men will share wives. And they also will usually date relatives, or marry relatives. So polyandry, men are also seen. Okay, sorry, let's get blah blah. I have a ADHD mouth today. In polyandry, the men are not supposed to have other women. Okay, polygamy, the women are not supposed to have other men. Okay, that's how that is. They're not supposed to have any other partners. You're the only partner. That's all it is. You ever heard of 1D policy in polygamy? It's a 1P policy in polyandry. And just looked at weird because men don't see themselves sharing anything. They don't see it that way. But you can find a polyamorous man will be just fine with you sharing a man. And that's the difference. Polyandry is a woman having men who don't want any other partners outside, of what you're doing. I've seen polyandry where there's men who date, like I said, in tripods because they're bisexual. But this is where that word soup is. So, like you said, if you guys hear the words a little bit later, polyandry is very, very it's basically the opposite of polygamy. They're not even supposed to be bisexual. They're supposed to just be with one man. That's all they want. And then they have sister wives who they have a connection with, who are platonic partners. They just live their life with them for the rest of their lives, and that's it. And they don't even actually have to like each other. That's kind of what polygamy is. That's what it is. And on polyandry, the same way. But when you open it up to more freedoms and you can like him and all that, then it's polyamorous. The polyamorous is more like build your own relationship. That's the best way to put it. And polyandry is a red stepchild because a lot of people don't think women should be in a position where they can have more than one male partner. And polygamists will give you the rundown of why that's ridiculous. They're always going to bring up animals. The animal kingdom is always one of the ones. That battle is ridiculous. They always bring up animal kingdom. And that argument is always sad. Now, I have some rebuttals for that, but that's another time. But the animals always come up and always talking about one man. Men can have multiple children and that women can't have multiple kids at the same time. So it's all these, and I have a rebuttal for all those, but like I said, it's cool. Me having an argument with a polyandry man or a polygamous man is real. It's like the realest thing that's ever occurred. I've had many of them. It's a lot. Take it in. It's a lot. Okay. I appreciate that, Renaissance Woman. Thank you for sharing that. That is awesome. Okay. Anyone that's asked Miss Paul, y'all can have free reign to ask any questions. You want to come on up, just let me know. We have some great dialogue, but for now, I'm just going to read off the questions that I was given throughout, the weeks or whatever. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just looking up some other ones because this is my light book. Okay, let's read this one. Okay, they said the reason why people become poly because they get bored and they don't want to be called a cheater, so they rather just say it's poly. Okay, true. I've been called. Okay, go. The Renaissance Woman has something else to say. Let's go back to that. Sorry. True, I've been called every whore for even discussing. It is true, Renaissance Woman. You are looked at like there is something wrong with you because that's not what you should do. And women aren't supposed to desire. I think it has a lot to do with back in ancient age. Women aren't supposed to desire, have a lot of sexual desire. People are like, oh, that's crazy. But this is what it was looked at. Women aren't supposed to have a lot of sexual desire. People think that women are not supposed to. I'm not saying people right now. Let me rephrase that. Back in times, women were not looked at as having these urges like men do. That's why women are looked at negatively when they have a high sex drive. They're looked at as being very promiscuous then. Instead of saying, oh, she just likes to have, those kind of moments with her partner. But if a man has a high sex drive, there's nothing wrong with it. That's just a man thing to do. I think it's just, if we start kind of transitioning things to just, we're just be people. I'm not talking about, anything crazy. Like we're all people. Yes, we're different. Absolutely, women are different from men. I will never take that away from men, that we are different. But when it comes to the particular desires, I don't think that would even make sense. Why would the Lord, if you believe in the Lord, why would you think a man was put here to have all this sexual desire and a woman to have none? That doesn't even match, right? Because there's lots more women. No, that doesn't even make sense. And there's been instances where a woman obviously may have more desire than men. And it is a proven fact, which people try to argue with me on this, is that women's sexual peak actually is near their 40s, and men's sexual peak is when they're younger. So when we start coming at the age of 30, you start seeing this. They hit like a middle, right? So the men are their sexual drive is coming down. And some guys are like, oh no, mine stays up. No, it doesn't. And it's proven. Your doctor will have a conversation with you. Men's sex drive starts to come down as they get older. Women's are going up. And then when they hit that passing point, like around the 30s, men start to come down, women are going up. And what happens is that's where the crossing point is. So if you don't know, ask your doctor, a male doctor if you want to. He will tell you that men, you guys, that's why y'all start getting your blue pills. Yeah, start getting your blue pills because your body is actually coming down. Yes, you can have children up to whenever, but your sexual desires and things change when you start to hit about 40. And if you don't know that, you need to go get educated. It is happening. And women's peak is actually going up. That's why you will see things like older women starting to kind of dip down in age when it comes to that sexual moment, because they are hitting their peak and men are coming down. Now, I'm not saying every man, of course, every man who keeps his libido up and he's jogging, he's got his good blood flow, you're going to be up there. You're going to be able to handle that. But it's true that there is a down. Okay? Right. Women start experiencing more, and especially a woman who's maybe even been married. You've been exploring yourself in that central way now with a partner. If you had more partners throughout time, you get to know your body. You are kind of shamed as a woman throughout life to not explore those things more than men. Men are told it's okay to, go in the bathroom and you have your man moments and you do all that. Women don't go to other women and you don't go talk to your 14-year-old daughter about having hot flashes, or when she has a dream, she wakes up and she feels tingly, what that means. Women don't have those conversations with their daughters. Men will go have conversations with their sons about, what they're doing, or if you feel some kind of way, how do you get rid of the erections and things like that are inappropriate. Those conversations happen in the male realm. They do not happen in the women's realm. So then we don't get that education until later. We don't get to talk about that. Or, sometimes I'm not satisfied. Like, what do I say? I don't know what to do, because you put the pressure on men to have all the answers to the sensual moments with women because they're supposed to have more experience, quote unquote. But it may not even be true. So if a woman shows more desire and all these things, it's not looked in a positive way at all. Or even just like more. It's not a positive thing for women, but it's a positive thing for men. So as we're going through this process of women finding out a little bit more about their bodies, wanting to say, hey, I don't like that. That doesn't take place when you're 18. You're not. No, no. Most women don't even find their middle or their excitement and all these things, the things they desire, and communicate that until later. That's because of those things, those factors in our society that tell us we're not supposed to have those kind of conversations with women. They don't. You can get shamed or looked at funny if you say that you like certain things. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying these are reasons. So yeah, yeah, the quality of these things are, it's all different. Like I said, the woman's body is changing as they get older, so it's a whole different thing. So I think that polyandry is looked at in a bad fashion because those women are seen to be for either promiscuous, even because you're like, oh, it's more, and I think it's funny because the people who say that always kind of, I don't tell everyone of us, but like I've heard women who are, and I'm not just saying one or two, I'm not saying the crazy outrage. Most women I talk to have way higher body count than me, like 4 or 5 times higher than that. And I am polyandry. So at this point, I'm thinking I had to reevaluate some things too. I was like, before I even got into poly, I ask friends or talk to people. I hear people talking about things and their body counts. I'd be like, oh, okay, you're monogamous. Okay. And I'm not talking about where I'm like, okay. And I'm not saying I'm the best person in the world. I actually have a lot of long-term relationships. That's probably why mine's shorter anyway. And I've been married. Like, there's lots of things. But when I'm thinking about the numbers I usually hear, just, even girls who are in their 20s say, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, okay. That's kind of high. Like, and I'm like, okay, but now even on polyandry and I'm older, my numbers aren't high. So that then begs the differ of people saying polyandry makes your body count high. I'm like, that is not necessarily true. All those things. You okay, sugar? Okay. So it's just a lot of stuff that I think is a misconception. And I do get a little sensitive about the misconception of people who say things about poly people because it does make me feel some kind of way because I feel like oh, we just can't get enough. We're always trying to find something new, and these are just things that aren't true. It's not true. Now, if they say the capacity to find more than one person, I think I have the capacity to love more than one person, and I can have that relationship, and I don't feel overwhelmed with one relationship. Yes, that is true. But there are people who are actually monogamous, who date or serial monogamous, and they date more than one person throughout their lifetime. And even when they date people, they've cheated, and maybe they're not even cheaters. But in that kind of situation, if you don't have the capacity to have multiple relationships at the same time, understandable. That's so understandable. But saying that there's something wrong with me for being able to, or that I just can't get enough, or I haven't found the right person, I just don't think that's right because there are people who do serial monogamy, and obviously they found someone, it didn't work out, they found another one. So you doing the same thing. Obviously, you didn't think they were good enough, so you found someone else. But I'm not saying anyone's not good enough. I'm saying I am finding people who are quality that I enjoy and I love to be with. And then I might find another person who I enjoy and love to be with. And I just do have the same relationship at the same time. And that's about it. I mean, that's how simple it is. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you got to find the next one. That sounds like a lot of work. Okay, I'm not trying to find anybody extra. But I will tell you this: being in the spotlight about poly and all that, I do get put in situations where I have a lot more access to a lot more people who want to talk to me. So since I have access to people talking to me, trying to get to know me, all those things, obviously I will interact with more people, which may mean that I talk to more than one person, or I have the opportunity thrown at me more than most to have more relationships. I will say that. Okay, so let's go here. Renaissance woman, thank you. I think you have more than one soulmate. I have various relationships with men at the same time. They weren't all sexual. Some are borderline. Exactly. So that's another misconception. Every time we talk about having a relationship with someone, they just automatically think it involves a sexual interaction. That is not true. I've had many relationships where I've talked to people for very long periods of time, and I've never had sex with them. Never had sex with them. And I enjoyed their time, the people they were, and we said we were actually together, and it just didn't cross that line. And that happens. It happens. It happens. And you just enjoy them for the people they are. And I think that's what's funny to me is that people actually like that's weird. I thought like the whole purpose of getting to know people is to really get to know them, enjoy the people they are. And if it doesn't go to that next level of intimacy, that's okay. And there are I just wish that I could share the polyform with you guys. A lot of times I tell people like, hey, this happened. They're like, I just don't believe that. There's no one who does that. And I'm like, but there is. There is. And my rebuttal to that is if you guys go and look for these people, you will probably find them. People who say, oh, there's not a man who just wants to be with you and no one else while you date someone else. There are actually men who actually seek women who will date someone else and they don't want to date anyone else. There are men who do that. There are men who come to me and ask me to be a dom. And I'm like, I'm not a dom. But when you put yourself in a situation where you're open to different kind of relationships, or you're open to the idea of having the conversation, you just see how many people will come to you. So these people do exist. You know what I'm saying? And I do think you say one soulmate, right? There is. So like I said, we're back to word soup. There are people say there's more than one soulmate. You have a twin fire, I think called twin fire soulmate. And what else is the one? So they say you can have more than one soulmate. You can have one twin fire, and you, the twin fire, have these really, really strong connections, but you also are so alike that it kind of you got to have time apart from each other also. But you keep being attracted to yourself over and over again. You can only have one twin fire in your life, they say. I think that's what it is. And there can be multiple soulmates, and then there's something else. There's a couple other ones. Okay, so let's read this one, Renaissance Woman. Okay, it says, when I got married, my husband made me get rid of my male friends and said men and women can't be friends. And I was miserable. Actually had a lie about a coworker. Yeah, girl. Do you see? So I just had this conversation tonight and everyone was on my ass when I said this. And I was trying to explain them. There are guidelines within monogamy. So within poly, we make the guidelines, right? We come to you and say, this works, this works, this works, this works, this works. This doesn't, this doesn't, this not. And monogamy, most of the rules are already set up. Now, there are people who are very, very comfortable with communication and they like to talk about what makes them mad and what doesn't. But for most parts, monogamy has guidelines that are already set up. That's why when people get together and they go on these dates, they only ask questions that are like, oh, you have kids. They don't go, hey, do you like it when I call you in the middle of the night? Or do you have a problem if I do this or this? They don't have those kind of conversations. Because there's already non-spoken monogamy that everyone knows. You see your parents and what they do. Your mom says it's not okay for women to call your dad because he's married. It's not okay for this and that. So when you hear someone say, you see people getting arguments, oh, why'd you buy our neighbor that? You shouldn't buy no woman, no stuff. All those things you've been seeing throughout your childhood are lessons and guidelines. So then when you date someone, the first thing out your mouth, if you see something that you saw that was not okay, when you saw a monogamous relationship, you go, hey, I saw that on a movie. That wasn't an okay thing to do. Women and men are supposed to be friends because the only reason a man is supposed to talk to a woman or be nice to a woman is when they want to date them. Most guys say, oh, that's crazy. That is a guideline of monogamy. Is that the only reason a man would be that nice to you, not just regular night, not open the door and say, here you go, man. The only reason a man would walk you to your car with your groceries is because they're interested in you. And you will hear men say this on shows. You'll hear it because that is a guideline of monogamy. And if he's not doing that, he's not interested. So in your mind, your husband thinks there are no friends with men because men only are going to try to talk because they're interested in you. And I have a problem with that because they're trying to be with you. And I don't want that because that's not how monogamy works. So then you are breaking guidelines. And even if you have no intent to be sexual with these people or whatever, or be in a relationship, your partner is going to see this as a threat and an issue. So yes, you're always going to have problems and you may be miserable. And it's not anything you can do because you have to chosen to be in monogamy and you have to be okay with it. And that's really hard. I've been monogamous, and the only reason I'll tell you I really kind of went to the guidelines because I knew that monogamy had guidelines. If I dated you, the only thing I would say would be like, if someone tried to date me, I would tell, and I was monogamous, I would say like, hey, you know what? I'm very free spirited. Like, if we go to a club, I'm gonna dance on people because I really like to do that. I like to talk to guys, so I just want you to know that. Like, I have an ex I talk to all the time, because we had a real good connection and we're cool as friends. We're not trying to date, but I have to actually tell people these things and ask if they still want to talk to me because those are things about me that are just there. I'm gonna have guy friends. I play video games. I do these things, and if you're not cool with that, then you probably shouldn't talk. It'd be a problem. I learned that very early in my teenage years. I had to explain that to men. I'm very flirty. I come off very flirty. Even if I have no intent, I will probably look like I'm flirting. If that bothers you, you're probably gonna talk to me. I'm probably gonna offend you every 3 minutes. So you have to set that up. But monogamy already has rules established. So you would have, if you do that, you change it, it's different. So now when you're in poly, you have those conversations. Okay, so what does it look like to you? What does it look like when I want to talk to another one? What does it look like? We have those conversations that other people do not have. And I'm not saying monogamy is not, because I think someone got offended today. And what Big Race was like, no, that's not true, right? And I was like, wait a minute, pause, pause, pause. That's not what I meant. Monogamy is cool, like, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying if you have a desire to interact with opposite sex friends and all that, your monogamy may be in question because that violates the guidelines. You don't hear, yeah, they may be insecure or whatever. I understand that some women who are monogamous are okay with their husband going and talking to the women because they're not threatened. All that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about monogamy already has pre-set up guidelines that most people know. When you just walk around, that's why most guys know you don't, when a woman walks by, you don't look at her body. You know what I'm saying? Like, because why? It's because it's crossing the line because they'll say, oh, well, women don't like that. Said who? Like, I don't really care. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to, those guidelines are prejudged. When you go on a poly, there's no prejudge. It's like, well, do you have a problem with me doing that? Or if we talk about it. So we said he was super possessive. Yeah, so I think monogamy does have a lot of possession things in it. I'm not trying to talk bad about it, but I'm just saying the guidelines are set up. You can't change what the guidelines are. Possession, feeling like your partner is you're a possession to your partner. That is something that it happens. That's why there's a lot of jealousy when it comes to certain things. I don't want to say everybody, but there's a lot of times it's like you're mine, and you're only supposed to have one. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, they're my everything." When people say that, I'm like, "Oh, wow, ooh, that's rough. You're everything." Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure to put on the other person. I didn't know you guys were exactly that paired. Okay, it sounds like a lot. And when you want someone to be your everything, and they can't be, or they're not, then what happens then? Because things happen. You know what I'm saying? Some people were used to be your rock, your stable place, and then they're going through a breakdown. They can't do that anymore. So are they not your everything anymore? You don't want them? Like, it's just, listen. Some guys, like you said, that men are shown to be possessive. This is mine, not yours. We don't share because what's yours is yours. All those kind of things. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. A lot of things happening. So yeah. So it's Ask Miss Polly. I'm gonna say again for anyone new who came in. This Renaissance woman, thank you for all your lovely comments, and questions, and I love the interaction. So hang on, so let me just check this real quick because I forget what time it is. Someone asked the question here. Okay, Okay, and okay, I'm just telling my aunt something. Okay, so oh my god, my eyes are burning. Okay, guys, so back to the Ask Miss Polly. You guys ask me questions in the chat, please do. I'm just going through my little pages here on some questions someone asked me. I have a whole bunch of notebooks. If you don't know. Okay, let's go back up here. Last one we were asking. What was that one we asked? Is it do people become poly because they're bored and don't want to be accused of cheating? That can happen. I will be honest. I have seen people, they don't want to break up with someone because they don't want to lose the possibility. They don't want to chance the possibility of the next person being not what they thought they were. So they'll just try to date two people and then see who wins. No, please don't. Don't mess it up for the rest of us. That's why I say, please, poly right. If you're going to do it right. If you're going to do it right. Men who have the concept, the thought, will always have two women and one for this and one for that. Even men, I have one woman to do this and one woman to do that. And I'm looking like, if you're just trying to get a Build-A-Bear person out of these women, you are going to fail. This relationship's going to fail. It's going to look back. You should be able to stand alone with each partner. That's how it should work. You should be able to stand alone. Let me say it again. With each partner. This is why it's not a Build-A-Bear. When people say it to me, that triggers me too. Oh, I don't want to trigger you, but I'm just trying to say, like, you're just building a man. No, I'm not. Because if I was building a man, none of these men can stand alone. And I probably wouldn't be able to be around them for long periods of time separately because they don't possess everything. So they're just going to annoy me when the things they don't do or I don't like them to do and they're around me. So they have to be a full relationship. All the way. I don't want half ass. I want full ass. Tell people that all the time. I don't want half ass. I want full ass. Okay. I don't like people to try to say, "Oh, I can do this for you," and that one can't. I'm like, but I didn't ask you if he couldn't do. I want to know what you can do and what we're doing together. And if it meshes, we'll mesh together. It's not a competition. We're not competing. Especially if you're the person who the two people are dating, especially it's not a competition, because at the end of the day, like your relationship is separate than theirs, and you can't compete. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm the prize, so if you both had me, we're all winning. I don't know what happened. Like we all won something, okay? So I don't think people should do that, but there are people who do date poly, just so they can get away with some foolishness. Please be aware of these people. They do exist, and they'll act like they're in it for the right reasons, and they're not. But no, I'm not dating because I'm bored. Now I will. Wait, I lied. Let me say. I lied. I'm gonna say what I said that again. I will go on a date if I'm bored. So let me make sure I say I will go on a date if I'm bored. But my intention when I go on a date, that's different. So if someone's like, hey, I'd go on a date with you. Can I take you on a date? And I might say, okay. But my intention is not to date. I'm probably going to say that too. I'm be honest. I'm pretty clear when I go on dates with people. I'll say, you know what? I'm not really dating right now. Like to be with someone, but we can go out and you can get to know me if you like. These are things I say. I actually will say those things like, hey, my intent is not to date right now, but if you want to just go hang out with me or just have fun, let's go on a date, D-A-T-E. I'm not dating you as like we're together in a committed relationship. That's why I like to say date and then committed relationship, because my partners would actually get mad at me because they don't like the fact that I say I'm dating someone, and the way that most people use dating is like we're together. And I do it too. I'll switch back and forth. Once again, one of my issues with the words. So I try to say people who I'm with, I say committed partners, because I want you to commit to us. But if you're not that, then we can just say we date. Like I go on a date with you or something. But I'm not really with you. No, I'm not. Sorry, I broke out, guys. We don't know that. Okay, so yeah, we can go on a date. Like that's cool. Like, but we ain't together though. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me go back to my page. Lord, I lost it. Okay, let's go back. So yes, definitely be aware of the people out here doing too much. And when you're talking about something, make sure everyone's on the same page, guys, because that happens. We're not on the same page. Okay. Okay. Make sure nobody else said anything. Okay. Let's see here. I have another question. Okay. Someone else asked me this question. They said, so the one I had that I had answered earlier on a different show was, okay, so there was a gentleman who came into polyandry group, and they asked me, um okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, so they asked me, well, if I have a woman that I'm interested in and she is polyandry, and she has a male partner and she likes to do things together, I don't mind doing stuff in the same room, but I'm not down with like the interaction with me and the other male. Well, how should I handle that situation? So I told the gentleman, I said, if you've been clear that you're not into men and they keep trying to make situations where it's very uncomfortable, where like they're asking you to do certain positions or something that you're not comfortable with, you need to establish that you're not okay with that. That is a sneaky move. And I always say, like, if it was the other way around, if you had it be like two women and the woman's not into women, and that woman like keeps trying to like go down on you or something, like that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? You're like, hey, I'm not cool with that. And they keep trying to put like weird positions where they have to do that. That's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be the same thing. So telling people your boundaries up front is really important. So I told him that, like, you need to establish that you're not okay with that. And then if she wants to date someone who's that way, then she needs to date someone that way. You shouldn't have to bend your boundary. That's a very important boundary to you. Now, compromise is different. But if you have a boundary that you're not okay with, especially when it comes to your sexuality, you should definitely, voice that. And if it's not respected, then that's not someone you should be with. Because at the end of the day, it's about respecting someone's request. And if they can't respect your request, there's no reason to continue to have a relationship with someone who just doesn't, respect your boundaries. So I told him that. So he was okay. He said, okay. I don't know what happened after that, but he definitely sounded like he may do it, because he said she kind of made him feel like she would possibly not be with him anymore if he wasn't going to get down with the get down. And I was like, no, sir. No, sir. No. Unless you about to get down with the get down, you ain't going to let that go. So that did happen. So that was a question someone asked me. Okay, let's go back into our little book. Some of these I had got asked and I wanted to revise them on here. So that was exciting. Okay, anybody have questions in here? Like I said, ask Miss Polly, any questions you like. It can be about poly, relationships, whatnot, and we will get down to them, okay? So thank you guys for coming and joining. Like I said, we talk about all kinds of stuff, lifestyles and things like that. So another big question. There you go. We're gonna get to this one. This one's pretty wide realm, but what is the difference between lifestyles and poly? Okay, so I think the difference between no, I don't know. I think I'm sorry. I know. So poly is a way of being in a relationship. Like you can have more than one partner. Okay, and when you go into lifestyles, is basically that's a kind of life that you want to live. It's usually a sexual life. It can be wife swapping. That also I will go down to open relationships. Lifestyle is kind of an open relationship. They all, and then maybe the fetishes, they kind of in that realm. And the reason why it gets so confusing for some people is because you can be poly in lifestyles or poly in not lifestyles. Lifestyle is just the way you're living your life, and not necessarily the kind of dynamic you're choosing, if that makes any sense. So lifestyles is something you do, when you're in a particular relationship, because you can be monogamous and be in lifestyles. You can literally be monogamous and do wife swapping and open relationships, and you don't want any other partner long term or short term. You just want to have these experiences sexually. And so that's the separation between those. Okay, so that's a general separation of those two. So when you talk about lifestyles, you're usually probably talking about fetishes, um, cock holds, all kinds of like that. So these are things you'll hear in that realm, but you can be poly and not lifestyles, which I am. Or you can be poly and lifestyles, which I know a lot of people who are poly and lifestyles. I'm in a group called Poly and Lifestyles. Just what it is, okay? So you just got to know the difference. It's not really a difference because they're not even. It's like saying, what kind of fruit are you, and then you ask me what kind of vegetable. It's like, wait, and then basically I'm like, okay, we're both foods. Because anyway, I don't think that was a good example, but anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. The relationships that you choose to be in, the dynamics you choose to be in, are not the kind of actions you're going to do. So it is just they're not the same. This is a moment I'm having a glitch because there's a word I want to use for that, but in my ADHD moment I'm having, it's not working out. But I do have a video on it, actually on YouTube. I have on my channel, there's a video that says the difference between lifestylers and poly, and I explained it very nicely there, and it was all set up. So if you want to check it out, please do. And I want to look down here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Process male to be poly, money, goals, and plan. Okay, so someone asked me, what is the process of becoming poly? And that can be polygamous or any polyamorous or anything like that. So what is the process? So if you decide you want to try this life, okay, hang on before I go on to that question. Being a swinger for 25 years, I understand that every man, woman wants to try new. If you are secure in your relationship, sex with others is okay as long as you swing together. So yeah, so thank you, Italian Stallion. That's very important. So yes, if you're a swinger, you have guidelines and you swing together. See, there are rules to all of this. Like there are guidelines in monogamy, there are guidelines if you're monogamous and you're in lifestyles. And when you're in lifestyles, when you are a swinger, swingers have rules. People think that these people are just running around with no rules and policies and they're just out of line. No. When you go into these situations, most of the time there are very clear guidelines that these couples set up before they go into it. Now, not everybody, of course, there's always going to be that good percent that's going to give them like 30% of people who want to be swingers and they just jump in it thinking that they heard a couple conversations and they just want to add a new partner. They have no rules. And as they progress, they will get guidelines that comes with, going through the process of becoming a swinger. You learn the process, you meet other people and they tell you, hey, dude, you can't be running up in here, not guidelines, and your wife don't know when to say no, or she's doing stuff, she's breaking guidelines we have here because that's not how we do it. That's what you'll learn. But when you just jump in it, yeah, you're gonna mess up. That's how it goes. So no, not everybody does it. Not everybody's in the same place. Italian Stallion here is for 25 years. This man is enriched with swinger information. So people who have been doing this life, they know what to do. Okay, they're on top of it. But for the people who are not, they have to learn or find other people, and then they go through the process. So, listen, he said, I had many swinger clubs. Oh, I had many times at swinger clubs where men have allowed me to have sex with their wives. Right. So, do you see how he said allowed? So, there are conversations that take place. You don't just walk up to a woman and just take her. Most likely, they're going to say, I have a husband, and he has to approve you. I've even seen other men say, like, yeah, I have to approve the guy. Or like there's a process. Everyone has their own process, their own rules. Not everybody's the same. But there are guidelines. You just don't run into something and just say, I'm gonna do it my way. Poly people are just, we just have to have, we have to have so much more conversation, because it would be chaotic and it would be confusing. So it's not really an option to be chaotic and I have rules and policies. And if you're in lifestyles, you definitely talk about safety, responsibilities, what's a no-go. There's a lot of swingers who they'll say, no, it's the same thing. We can swing, but we're only swinging with women. Hey, Mac, how are you? So we're on here talking about Ask Miss Polly. You can talk about relationships. We were just talking about lifestyles and swingers. You can ask any question this evening. It's Ask Miss Polly. Ask me a question, and we will get into it. I'll give you my opinion or my information that you would desire. So what I just said the next one was, oh dang, I just said I closed the book. See what happens? So anyway, we were just saying, what was the next thing I asked? Oh, how do you get into poly? That's what it was. How do you get into poly? If you are a man getting into poly, it'll be a lot easier. But I'll be honest, I think it's a lot easier for the men, just because just because if you are very, 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 very open about what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you move and being very honest, there will be a woman who will be okay to try. And if you find the right person to guide you to the right locations where there are poly groups, poly places, safe havens, you will find someone who will be willing to do it. And it's easier because women are shown throughout life to work in group mentality more than men. I'm not all the time, more than men. Americans obviously already, they just are very independent people. But when it comes to women working together, it's a little bit different. So when you say, go to a woman, say, hey, tell them like, hey, I'm poly. A lot of guys are like, oh, I told them that, and they just shut it down. Yeah, women talk, and that's true. They say no, 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 no. But those same women be the same ones who will sleep with a man who's married, and their wife will never know, but they'll say no to a poly man. I've seen that happen lots and lots of times. That doesn't even make sense to me. It's very confusing. I've even had my partner say, oh, I'm married, and because he doesn't really want to date other people, and he'll say, I don't want to date anyone else, and they'll say, wait, right. I'm sorry, your question threw me off. So I've had my one partner who doesn't really want to date. He doesn't date anyone else. He just has no desire to. But when he tells people, like, when he goes out, he'll say, oh, I'm married. And then they'll say, oh, okay. And they'll still start flirting with him. And then they'll usually try to hit on him. And he's like, well, he'll explain that he's poly because, I'm very open. So it's like people will see my other partner and they'll be like, oh, so she has someone else. So he'll say, I'm poly, but I don't date anyone else. When he tells them that, for some reason, they'll be like, oh, well, I just don't want her to know about me, but like, I'll talk to you. I'm like, so you're okay if you were just married and I don't get to know. It's a weird, it's just crazy. The things that women will be okay with and then not okay with that are against monogamy. It's really weird for me. But anyway, do you consider yourself polyamorous? I consider myself polyamorous, yes. I am. I am polyamorous, but what ends up happening is that my partners are more monogamous because they were monogamous. And we try to do other things. I told you I was here soapbox. So you said, do I? Yeah, so I am polyamorous. I'm okay with it. But since my other partners don't seek other partners, I end up being more polyandry than anything. My partners don't really look for anyone else. And we have opened it up before. So like I said, we transition. I think that throws people off. It throws people off when I say that because they'll say, oh, well, they're not. Poly is not stagnant. It transitions. So that means I can be polyamorous right now. And then tomorrow my partners can say, I don't want to date anybody. I don't want to be with anyone. Then I'm polyandry. And then 3 months from now, they'll be like, hey, I met someone. They're pretty, maybe I want to talk to them. I'll try again. Okay, I'm back to polyamorous. Like, it kind of depends on who you're dating, really. And I'm open to being polygamous, to be honest. I've met a man who was very amazing, and he was a polygamist, and he was trying to convince me to leave my partner so I could be with him and his girlfriend. And he's like, but we only have one D policy, and I was like, I can't do it. I said, I really love my partner. Like, I'm not leaving him because I like you. Has nothing to do with it. So it was. Listen, you are not going to stay stagnant unless you are dedicated. Polygamists, they will stay the same. Polyamorous and polyandry, you can transition. So I'm a transitioner. So I can kind of move around, but I've never been polygamous. Like I said, I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I'm open to loving people and getting love back. Sorry. Okay. Really, Soapbox says, back. We were live earlier. And then Italian Stallion, hey, he said, my sex drive has fallen off yet. I constantly have sex 2 to 3 times a day if I'm stimulated. Oh, Lord. Wow, Stallion. You out here doing a lot of stuff, I see. Yeah, see, if a woman said that, they would be like, oh, man. I would have even heard men say, like, women who have really high sex drives, that they're like, oh, well, I feel like you're going to cheat if I don't give it to you. I've heard such a thing. You're like, dang, like, shoot, I can be like real chill. Like, just because I want to do something don't mean I'm gonna run the streets. And I really understand why guys are like, dang, I'm always getting accused. My sex drive's high. If I go out the street and they didn't give it to me, I'm gonna go get it from somewhere else. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. But I understand because I'm like that. I'm just like, dang, like it doesn't mean I'm gonna cheat because I'm saying I'm excited or I want to do something and you don't want to. Like that doesn't mean I'm gonna run out here, my desire is never gonna over succumb me being a loyal person to you or not violating our boundaries. Our relationship is worth more to me than some person touching me for some moments in time. It's not worth giving that up. And that's why I say you have to find the right person. If your relationship is that worthless to you, then you probably shouldn't be with them. I'm not saying accidents don't happen. Don't do that. I never said that. So like let's say like you got caught up and you had some boundaries and you messed up. People messed up. But you're not gonna keep repeatedly messing up like that. Because at some point you gotta know that your relationship is being violated and you're hurting people when you're doing that. So if you're consistently violating your boundaries, and you're like, hey, I messed up. I've never been drunk before. I gotta tell people, but like if that's your thing, you get drunk and you keep going out doing all that. I mean, shoot, you're just violating people's boundaries. And why would someone want to be with someone who just doesn't give a 2 cents about their commitments to the other person? No, I'm not gonna do that. So it's not worth it to me to consistently say, oh, yeah, I might mess up, but it's cool. And then next month, oh, I messed up. It's not cool, but I did it. No, I'm not going to do that. The relationship that, I have with you is valuable. And I'm not going to keep putting it at jeopardy for something that is not even worth it. If it is worth it, you want to be with this person so bad and you just can't stop doing it, then you probably want to go ahead and be with that person. Make a commitment and have them commit to you. Then that's different. That's why it doesn't make sense in the poly realm to violate someone's boundary over and over again. If you want to be with someone, just talk it out and find out that's what it is. If you're just having sexual urges, then talk about that. Everyone's relationship looks different. There's some poly people who are called solo poly. Solo poly looks very single-like. Very single like it looks like. And I can't even really connect with solo poly. I don't understand it because to me it looks too much like being single and not committing. And that's just my opinion. So for me, I don't connect to that. But if you're a solo poly, you're very open to those experiences that's not for me. So yeah, I mean, you gotta have a conversation up to your partners about what you like it to look like. And if it fits in with you, get in that. If that fits in with you, if you okay with your partner having different partners, every month, and they're not really committing to any of them, if that's your thing, true, that's your thing. I'm not gonna call you out for it because that's just your thing, and I respect you as a person. Do I think it's a little unsafe? Absolutely. Do I think it could be a better way? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's what makes you happy and what keeps you going. So I'm not here to put judgment on anything. But if you ask my opinion about how I personally feel about certain things, I will say my opinion. But if you live in life and you enjoying it, boo, do you? Because God didn't put you on this earth to please me. I'll tell you that right now. No, 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 no. He did not. So do what you have to do to be happy in things that you do. Okay, let me go to another question here. I think I got to go back in my book. Okay, what is this? Oh, Aaron. So you're saying that partners are mono with you, which means they're competitive. Um, no, no. So, okay, my partners. So my partners were monogamous when they met me. So I don't know if you're still here. So my partners were monogamous when they met me. So that means they were used to dating one on one. So they're serial monogamous. They're used to dating one on one. And when they met me, I told them that I was poly, and then that I dated more than one person at the same time, and they got to know me for me, and they wanted to talk to me, and that was fine. So when we did that, a lot of times when I date monogamous men, like I had said earlier, they tend to be like on this thing where they're like, well, if you're a poly, that means that I can be poly too. And I tell them, like, I'm okay if you would like to add other partners. There are a process to that I like, or guidelines to that I have, but I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I have my own process to that, and I have my own guidelines to that, and what I would like that to look like if you were to do it. That conversation is said, and then they usually will try to see how it works. It Because they're so used to being monogamous, it's like a relearning process. Because now you don't have to hide who you're talking to. If you get on the phone with me and you're on the phone with them, and they call you, like you'll do things like be like, oh, let me call you back, I'm tired, or I'm on the phone. You like, they're not used to being like, oh no, Jen's on the phone. They'll say, oh, let me call you back, I got a call. No, once you say, I'm on the phone, I want to talk to Jen for a little bit because I know she's on her break. That conversation, they don't know how to have that kind of conversation. So it'll be like they're monogamous, hiding another relationship, and they feel like anybody who cheats, you should know it's a lot of work. Because you got to do a lot of hiding. So when you're triggered to feel like you're cheating, you feel like you're doing something wrong all the time. It's a big process, and so they go through that process. And one of my partners, he just like, he was really struggling with feeling like it was wrong all the time, and that he just didn't like it, and so he decided that he didn't want to date anyone else but me. And he also had issues when he would try to maybe possibly just get to know someone. There was a lot of issues with things we had, like guidelines with not just having sex with women. We're not going to have sex with just women, like that, things like that. And I wasn't saying he couldn't do those things, but like I didn't want him to hurt women by just having these sexual moments with them, and he had no real intent, because then that me promoting bad relationships by saying, oh yeah, he can just run around, do what he wants with you, and you want to have a serious relationship and he doesn't. So I didn't want to do that. My dynamic right now, I will say I'm still polyandry right now ish, but I'm more polyamorous. I'm polyandry because I said my partners, they don't compete with each other because I have individual relationships. I do talk to other men right now. I'm not closed. I don't have a closed relationship. So I'm open to getting to know people. Um I have uh my other partner, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a little bit younger. So I mean, he's cool with just dating me, but I know that if he met someone, I mean, he might talk to them. I mean, I don't know. The reason why I say I don't know is because with him, he has introduced us to another partner before and tried to see how it worked, and it was okay. But then he was like, I can't give them what they want, and he kind of felt like that wasn't working. So he felt the same thing I said. I think it's a strain. Some people can't really deal with more than one relationship at the same time, and it's a struggle, and that just doesn't work for them. So I think that's what happens. It's like they'll try, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I can really do that. So I don't know if he's done with that phase, but he definitely has mentioned like he's not interested to talk to anyone on a serious level. But he never said he want to talk to one or have conversations or make friendships. He just said that having a actual like full on love relationship, he don't want to do that. So, man, I can't. I just say okay. And what that looks for him is that here. This is one thing I'll personal about. So he will talk to other women, like have a relationship with them, and get to know them. But like if you ask him to date you, like have a committed relationship, he'll say no. And he just won't commit to it in that fashion. That's basically it. And even sexually, like that's a big thing too. And then he gets upset because he's like nobody. Like he's like if I'm not having sex with them, oh, I don't want to have sex with them. Or it's a thing. It's a thing. Like so, I think he just wants to build nice relationships with people. I think that's what he's on with his poly life. Or I shouldn't even say his poly life. So on his journey in this process, he has decided he wants to get to have good relationships and not it always to be about sexual things. And in his journey, the women that he's talking to or even, interacting with, that's the kind of vibe he gets. And he does not always, uh, vibe with people in that manner. And I think that's what he's on. So, like I said, I don't like to speak for him because he likes to speak for himself. One thing he's really bad. That's why he's the only one of my partners who I'm like hesitant to talk about or not talk about, hesitant to speak for him because he likes to say his own stuff and he is not scared to say, listen, stop saying shit. I'm gonna say it. Okay, so I'm not trying to get I'm not trying to get someone to give me a talking to because I'm speaking for them. But definitely that's why he's the one I'm kind of like, let him tell you how he feels about it. And he'll tell you if you ask him. So anyway, what's your poly dynamic? Well, you have to answer that, sorry. So yep, they're not really competitive. I dated them separately when I first met them. I had one relationship and we just did us and then the other one and then like they kind of started like interacting with each other and now we're at a place where we all vibing, man. We all good, it's great. Nice feeling. And it's nice to see two men who are monogamous really have a brotherhood form from not knowing each other at all. And that's cool because you don't get to see that a lot, especially when you see a lot of times negativity when it comes to can black men kind of, deal with each other, hang out or be whatever. And they clearly can. And it's awesome to see that. So I'm vibing with that. But okay, so and then someone else asked me to get another question is like, do I date now? I do date now. I will be honest. So when I say date, like I said again, you can get to know me. I am not like seeking anyone out. There are people who like to get to know me. And if you want to have a conversation with me, I am okay with the conversation. I'm very okay with the conversation. I do not mind the conversation. But it does not mean it's going somewhere. It doesn't mean that. And I think that's the difference. Like, you want to get to know me? That's cool. It's cool. As a person, that's cool, cool, cool. Hey, Dale. Oh, Dale. Dale. How are you? So, Dale, I'm going to get the email and I'm going to talk to you because I was just talking about you earlier. So we're going to do this dang show, Dale. Matter of fact, we're going to set it up, Dale. Hi. So we're going to do it. Don't BS me, Dale. You know how I feel about BS, man. I need you to really do your part, and I need you to give me 30 minutes, like I said, of your face. You did. I know. I'm glad to see you, though. You know who else would like to see you? Holly probably would. No, I don't know. You made I don't know if you made Holly mad. You remember on Hollywood? My partner Hollywood? I don't know. Kind of, he don't like he don't like Lucha, you know what I'm saying? So Dale is from my tagged family over there on Tagged app. I do stream over there sometimes, and then I try to do dual streaming. And Dale is from Tagged. Yes, big head Holly, Holly Wally. So Holly is my partner, one of my partners, and Dale. So one of my partners, we do stream together on Tag. We did stream together on Tag. We haven't been on Tag that much. I don't know what he does on Tag anymore. We stepped away from Tag, and so I think he stayed on it still. He still goes on Tag. So you see us on Tag. Dale has been on Tag, and he's met my partner, and he's talked to him, and he's met one of my previous partners that I used to date, which they don't date anymore. But so Dale got to see Miss Polly in her beginnings, and it's very interesting, Dale. Interesting. So, Dale, today we're doing Ask Miss Polly. I know you should do that on Tag, but I am doing that on YouTube today. So, we're going to ask Miss Polly questions, and I will answer your questions just like I do in the live on Tag. So, that's what we're doing. This is very exciting thing to do. Yeah, I go live now. I know. So, Holly Bolly. Yeah, so yeah, he does go live sometimes, but I don't know. I yeah, sometimes I go live and he'll come into the live. He doesn't do YouTube lives. So, it's different. Tag is different than YouTube. So, when we're on Tag, it's a different vibe. You could have music playing and all that, and you don't get in trouble, and it's fine. So we have a different vibe on Tag, but like when I get on the YouTube, I have to kind of switch it up just because of the policies and all that great stuff. But it's definitely cool on Tag. I have about all of it. I got like we got over 2K now. I got my page taken. I had 7K people who abuse fans or followers, and now I had to start over, so I'm at like 2,000 again. So we're gonna keep ragging it up, but it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. So I'm happy to see Dale. Me and Dale are going to do a show, and Poly by Nations, and we're gonna talk about how Poly is out there. And it's going to be great. So my aunt was just telling me something. I was going to look at this. So it is very, very interesting. So yeah, so if you guys have never seen my partner, Holly, he also, if you're just interested to know who these people are, I always talk about. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go not on the lives, you go to my regular videos. He actually I did an interview with him. I did an interview with my other partner, which we have to do another interview. But Holly did one interview, and he talks about his experience as a poly person. And I asked him like question. I'm like, do you think yourself poly? He'll say no. He said, if we break up, will you be poly? He'll say no. I'm gonna go back to monogamy. Like man, like he's gonna tell you. He's real about it. So I will say check out those interviews. I actually might repost those interviews because they were a long time ago, like maybe 3 years ago now. So definitely want to repost some things, have people see them, and I want y'all to vibe with them. They're really cool people, actually, very strong personality, independent men who speak their mind, and like I'll be honest with you, like we don't agree on a whole bunch of stuff. Be real honest with you, like we don't agree on like a whole bunch. Just told you a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of the reason is because we're just so different. We just really are different when it comes to our opinions and our backgrounds. One partner is from the Navy, the other partner's from like the hood. He's from Louisiana, and the other one's from Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like we're from the South. But our backgrounds are really different, and I feel like one of my partners, I feel like we are like just exactly the same person. Like I feel like, oh my gosh, like everything you've done, I feel like I've done it too. Like we talk about it, we have the same amount of children, like it's we just everything's kind of like, this happened to me, blah blah blah. And the other one, I'm like, you know what, you're a lot different from me, but I get you, I vibe with you, I learn from you, I see, it's just like two separate people relationships that stand alone, and they are just wonderful people. And I couldn't see myself with either one, without either one, not with either one, without either one. And that's how I knew like that these were going to be my long-term partners, and I think that's how they kind of do that about me. Like I said, I don't really wear jewelry a lot, but I do. I might have a ring on sometimes. I don't even know. I think I had it on a couple videos. So I do have like plans to have weddings and stuff. Like I'm committed to these two and things like that. And you know, I don't like to reveal all my plans for my future on on these lives all the time, because things change, people change, conversations take place. And yeah, so there are in the plans for me to at some point cut off and just that's where the goal is now, is to cut off and find partners that I will be with for the long term, and to cut off the numbers and then just have who I have, which I'm very, very okay with also. So while I'm still open to that conversation, the people that I talk to now, these are, I'm at the place where I want also for my partner who wants to settle down to have stability, and I think he deserves that too. That it's a request that is reasonable, and I'm okay with coming halfway with those kind of requests. So like I said, it's all about the compromise and the conversation and what we're willing to, do with our relationship. So yeah, deal. Okay. So anyway, ask Miss Paul, anybody else have any other questions? I know it's getting late. Everyone's like, oh well, I know people coming to live. I usually I don't even I've been live for an hour, 30 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna go on here because I always got questions on here. Let me take a look. Now let's go in here. I'm going into my Facebook because this is how I can find these questions. Because I be got the questions out here, and then okay, let me go on my messengers where you find all the questions at, because people ask me questions in my messenger. Okay, so let me go in here. All right. Oh, okay. Here's a question. Someone asked me, said, "How do you deal with jealousy?" I know that's a general. How do you deal with jealousy with your partners? So my partners now. Okay, well, let me take that back. Okay, so there was a transition, like I said. So jealousy is really big when it comes to new partners. New partners. New partners seem to be the thing that triggers the other partners. Not all the time. We're kind of past that. Like I said, if you have poly partners, you won't really have these kind of problems. But if you date monogamous, yes, you will see a little bit of jealousy. And poly people do get jealous too. So that's why you have those conversations. But if I see it, it's usually in the beginning where a new partner's coming in, because it is true that if you're monogamous in this, you'll get this feeling of, am I not enough? Like, why are they looking for other partners? My other partners do feel that. Matter of fact, you know what? It's my video, right? Okay, I'm gonna show this video. I'm gonna go to it. Oh wait, I think I can do it, guys. Let me see. So I haven't done this in a long time. So I want to go to. Let me see. Let me see if I can do it. Let me check it out. Oh, okay. Hang on, guys. Oh my. I don't know if I can do it on here. Okay, I can't. So if I had my other thing, if I was on my laptop, I would show you. So basically, I can maybe still do it. Let me try and see. I'm gonna go to the video. I'm gonna let you see this man, and I'm gonna put it out on a different video to him. I'm gonna go to the video. It's really important. So this video, my partner actually says this. I ask him that, and he says how he feels about it, about the jealousy. that he feels. And he is not playing with me. Like, this is not a man playing. Okay, let me go here. Miss Polly. Okay. Let me Polly write. Sorry, I would put it on here, but you guys know that I didn't do it. So okay, let me go on here, Miss Polly Wright. We're gonna go to videos. We're gonna go all the way down. This crap happened a real long time ago, right? Okay, was actually right here. Yep, it's Polly Andrew. It was 2 years ago. Okay. Okay.
I was continuing with my interviews with my boyfriends, so I have another one of them um, with me today, and we're gonna do another interview for you guys. So I know some of you guys been subscribing, so thanks for that. I do have two other videos that are part one and part two for another interview I did earlier this week. So we're gonna interview one now, and his name is Hollywood. I know you guys are wondering why we keep doing that. We go to tag and we use tag, so we use our tag names because we just do so for discretion. Yes. So this is Hollywood, and then I'm gonna ask him some questions. See how he feels. All right. All right. Hi Hollywood, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Okay, so we're gonna ask you a few questions here. So you start to kind of introduce yourself. You got your name, your age, and where you're from.
Well, I'm Hollywood, Texas, with Dubai. I'm 32 years old. I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
All right, all right. And how'd you meet Miss Polly?
I met Miss Polly on a dating app.
Okay.
BLK dating.
All right, all right. And what did you have concerns about her being Polly? Did you know she was Polly at first?
I knew she was Polly because it was in her name. Just wasn't exactly sure which Polly she was.
All right. And then when you found out she was Polly Andrew, how did you feel about that?
I mean, I was fine with it. I didn't know what polyandry was. So, upon further discussion and more research, I found out that it's a woman who dates more than one man. So I was cool with it. I told her that, I said I've never done it before, so I don't know how it's gonna go. I said, but I'm willing to try it.
And did you have any issues like when she first started dating? She had someone else? Did you be worried about that? Like, want to not meet the people or?
Yeah, I didn't want to meet anybody. And of course, it made me nervous from somebody who's been in monogamous relationships. And normally, when another partner is being brought in, it's a feeling of being betrayed, cheated on. So it did definitely make me nervous. And it also kind of made me have this feeling of inadequacy.
And do you consider yourself poly now since you've been doing it for a while?
I would say so.
All right. So if you were to leave, would you be back to monogamy? Or you think you might feel open to poly?
That's a tough question. I to be honest, I can't really see what the future holds for me. But I believe that I will go back to a monogamous relationship.
Okay. And what do you think you've gained from the experience so far?
I've gained a shit ton of understanding. A lot of understanding. I don't know. I've also gained a lot of self-growth, self-esteem.
Okay. And have you ever thought about, just quitting it at any point?
Yes. Numerous times.
All right. And why do you feel that way?
Because I felt inadequate.
Okay. So what do you do when you have come across feeling inadequate? What kind of things do you do, or does she do?
I mean, Miss Polly tries to reassure that I am inadequate. I am adequate, not inadequate, but I am adequate. But things I do is I'll sit and I'll listen to music, spend time with my children. I just get something to take my mind off of it. It's really hard to just completely throw the feeling of inadequacy away because the inadequacy has not come from that feeling has not come from her alone. She's not the only person that's made me feel that way before. So I can't lay it all on her, so therefore she can't take it all away.
All right. If you name something that you like about being poly and something that you don't like about being poly.
One thing I don't like is I don't like having to hear about the other boyfriends. The one thing that I do like is I do enjoy the feeling of truly being loved.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add or share about your experience so far? Okay. 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 So that's Hollywood. So that's his little
Okay. So I don't know if you could hear it. I hope you could. I hope you could hear it. But so that was oh Lord, that was in our first year that we were dating. So this is like 2 years old. This is 2 years old. That's where he was 2 years ago. We're at year 3 together now. So it definitely is a process. I had another review and like he did not like the YouTube interview. But I'm glad he did it. I'm happy he did it. It was a wonderful experience to have him there. But what's so funny is that I know he hates YouTube. I don't know why, but it's not good. But he will get on a live on tag and he will chatter all day in the box. Like he will push me out of my own live. He will take over my live and talk. Like he is that real about it. So he'll talk about Paul all day. He will I mean, I will tell you, when we were on tag together, like I've never felt so supported by anyone in my life to told me that don't change who you are because is so amazing. It made me feel that and meant it to that degree. And that's what he liked. It's just I was me. And that was like amazing. And he helped promote me and push me to do all the Polly stuff. You would not see Miss Polly if he wasn't that cheerleader for me. And he was never the person to be like, stop that. If he didn't like something, there's been times he didn't like some things I was doing live. And he just removed himself and he just said, I don't really like it, but do you. So, that was crazy. And then when I met my second partner, like that ride or die feel once again, like I feel like no matter what, like they got me. Like they got me. And that's a feeling that I've really never gotten anywhere else. Even with other partners I've been with like before this, like the kind of support I have from them is so amazing. And I feel like it's very genuine because we're very honest with each other about what we're doing, what we're doing it with, and all this stuff. It's just a lot more openness that I've never really received. Oh, you still have it. You know what? So you can rewind the video. I know it's live, but I don't know if you can hear it. So maybe you can tell me, Knowledge. I played my interview with one of my partners, the one who I've been with the longest, and I asked him some questions, and I don't know if you could hear the audio, but I'm gonna probably re-put that video up. I'm gonna repost it because I like how real he was. Like, and the other one, he's hilarious too. But I really like that interview. I think they did a marvelous job, and I love how they explain anything. I love their honesty. It's amazing. I love that they tell me no. It's amazing. Like I love it, love it. I know it sounds crazy. I like the genuine and the honest character that they have. It's important. So I am still awake. I was gonna shut it down. It's been about an hour and a half now. So I'm gonna move on up. And hopefully you guys can see it. And I'll repost that because those were amazing interviews. And I'm sure people were like, oh, one of the things is I noticed that like on my videos, some of my most popular ones too, they want to see my partners. And so we don't get to see them all the time. So it's nice to have them and share them with people and share their opinions, because a lot of times guys don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to them. People want to talk to them about it, because they're experiencing something that is different. Okay, let me blow my nose. Lord, praise God. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Hang on, one pause. Okay, so before we say anything else, guys, it is Ask Miss Polly. Thank you for new viewers. Hopefully you subscribe if you're not subscribed to me yet. And you had to come visit me. That's amazing. I love new visitors. And so, was Ask Miss Polly. You guys can ask me a question if you like. Before we wrap up the show, wrap it up tight. I'm gonna go get myself something to do. I don't even know. I'm not really tired, to be honest, but I don't want the shows to go on forever because it's not cool. But this is just Ask Miss Polly, and you guys can check out some more videos if you like. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching, taking the time to show me some love, and hopefully like the video, guys. And I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you sticking it out with me, dealing with my chitter chat. My ADHD is all over today, so I apologize if I was just like all over. It's one of those days. Okay, so bear with me. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the love. And I will just be seeing y'all another time. All right, guys. You have a good night.